New Smyrna.
We had ourselves an excellent opening race to the 2026 season here on AG the channel, and congratulations to Igor Barreto on getting the very first win of 2026. So from one wild short track to another, we descend upon the new Smyrna Speedway, and in 1 week's time from tonight, we'll be running the opening event of the 2026 Wawa Cup Series, as we always do, the Mellow Yellow Smooth Fest. But tonight, it's the second race of the season for these 24 drivers in the BodyArmor Pro Series, and it's 25 laps, and a 50-lap feature with all 24 drivers in it here tonight for the Central Florida Showdown, race number 2 of the 2026 BodyArmor Pro Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the new Smyrna Speedway. We're getting there, guys. 1 week away from the Mellow Yellow Smooth Fest. We are so excited for the new season, and we're excited for this race because it's going to give us a preview of what we're going to see next Friday night in the Smooth Fest. And hey, we got some of these guys who are going to be in that Smooth Fest. Duncan Ward going to be leading us off in the very first heat race next week as he's the defending champion. He starts 4th here in heat number 1 of this BodyArmor Pro Series event. Join alongside Nathan Stapler for the call of this one, and of course you'll be running the very first HERS Sprint Series race here in about 5 days on Wednesday night, so I know you're looking forward to that. But what are you looking forward to in this race here tonight, the new Smyrna Speedway, one of the best short tracks that we've got in NR2003, and it's going to be a lot of fun here tonight. Seeing these 24 drivers duke it out for 50 laps in the feature, but we got a couple of heats to get through first here to determine how they're going to line up for that feature event.
Absolutely. You said it right away. This is one of the best short tracks on NR, and we've seen it multiple years in a row now where it provides some hectic 2 and 3 wide racing. You can work the way from the back to the front relatively quickly, and that's not normally a common thing on most short tracks, and this place is special, and it's great to have this be the track that really kicks off everything for the most part, and excited for the Smooth Fest, excited for another year of the Sprint Series, has science for week 1 next week, a couple of days ago now, and of course week number 2 of the BodyArmor Pro Series. Fantastic next week here at New Smyrna, and it all kicks off with the BodyArmor Pro Series.
We're going to have a lot of fun with this race here tonight, so let's get down to it here for the BodyArmor Pro Series and show you guys the point standings coming into this event. Of course, these heat races award points to the top 5 finishers, and that's the purpose of them this year. Of course, it also determines the starting lineup for the feature, but it's the fastest lap in those heat races that determines the starting position that you get in the feature event. And of course, whichever heat race has the fastest overall lap, that's the one that starts on the inside lane. And we're actually going to be introducing that in the Smooth Fest in a way. The fastest heats are going to get the prime positions for the feature event on that inside lane, which is a great place you want to be here at New Smyrna Speedway. Got off on a tangent. We were talking about the points, and leading those points, it's Igor Barreto in the number 71. Got the feature win. Of course, did not get any points in his heat races, so he's got 25 points. Alexander Rowe starts outside pole here in this heat, is 7 points behind. Got Travis Crampton 15 behind, Aaron Abel 14 behind, and then a 4-way tie already for 5th. Brendan Willington, Haley Anderson Jr., Ludovic Schredt, Logan Williams. Hey, it's early on in the season. It's equal ratings, and odds are, no disrespect to Igor, because he's a great driver, odds are we're going to see a different winner this season. That was not the case last year when Blaine Keys won the first 2 events of the year and led in the points the entire season. Things can definitely get a lot more interesting here tonight, especially considering that feature event's got 24 cars in it, and that's the maximum amount of cars you can hold on this racetrack. So going to be a fun one here tonight. So we're excited to get some racing done here, New Smyrna Speedway, over the course of the next 8 days. It's Emily York Watson on the pole here in heat number 1 alongside Alexander Rowe there in the number 6. Got Aaron Abel, Duncan Ward making up row at number 2. And then you got Michael Lewis and Eric Monaco. Of course, Eric Monaco did not have a good run last week at South Boston. Got punted around quite a few times in that one. He's hoping for a bit of a rebound here tonight. He got 1 point last week from everything that occurred. Got Stuart Gratton in the number 35 to the inside of the 15 driven by Matthew Hubert. New scheme for Matthew Hubert. Of course, let you guys change schemes. Hubert decided to change his for the season, and he's going to be in that number 15 Gainbridge machine for the 2026 BodyArmor Pro Series. You got Kirsten Bell to the inside of Logan Williams, who won his heat race last week at South Boston, and then you got Daniel Paulus Jr. and Hallie Anderson Jr. in the final row here for heat number 1. All right, Nathan, who do you think is going to get it done here in this first heat? We got a lot of great drivers here, and 25 laps to determine 10 points to the winner of this event.
Well, I am liking the driver in the 5th position. Give me the number 99 of Michael Lewis, gain 5 points here and starting up front in the feature later on tonight.
We'll see how that ends up working out for Michael Lewis there. That is a very good position to start here in New Smyrna Speedway. But Emily York-Watson's in the best position. Let's see what she does here on the start of this race to get these drivers to roll off here for heat number 1 of the Central Florida Showdown. And of course, Alexander Rowe, you know a lot about Alexander Rowe. You called 7 of his 12 wins last year. Caleb called a couple of them as well. I had a couple, but Alexander Rowe really went nuts in the Sprint Series last year. Of course, he's going to be a full-time Wall Cup Series driver, but hey, everyone's eligible for the Sprint Series outside the Sprint Series owners, so we might see Alexander Rowe come back in a couple of those events. But Emily York-Watson, Lenovo Pro Series champion. You got the Lenovo Pro Series champion and the Hearst Sprint Series champion on the front row. Your 2 series there, Nathan. And they're going to lead us off here for another night of fun short track action here on a Friday night at New Smyrna Speedway. Let's see how it all goes down here tonight. We love this track, and it's going to be a lot of fun for 100 total laps tonight. Green flag in the air for the Central Florida Showdown. Oh boy. Already a pass for the race lead and 3 wide action, and that outside lane is not where you want to be in Alexander Rowe. Gotta be careful here. This is what we're going to see next Friday night with the Cup Series cars and the Wall Cup Series. They're going to put on a good show, and just look at the way these guys slide around. But how about this? Aaron Abel out front in the 16 in the Greg Biffle tribute scheme. Love to see this scheme run well. Emily York-Watson pushing up on Michael Lewis, and here comes Stuart Cradden trying to move his way through the field. Of course, 3rd in the championship standings here in the Pro Series last year. He wants another shot at a Pro Series title here in 2026.
Well, Aaron Abel is in a prime position to get those 10 points. I said 5 at the pre-race. It's actually 10 if you win one of these heats, and off to a great start. And that was very ironic. Like I said, this Lenovo Pro Series champion washed up into the Sprint Series champion, and the amount of 3 rods that we have seen is crazy stuff. Stood almost into the outside wall, and Aaron Abel loves the way he sees 3 rod again. Oh my goodness, and they have somehow kept it out of the wall every single time that we've had 3 wide in a 5-lap span.
This has been some excellent racing, and kudos to Emily York-Watson. She's been in the middle of a lot of those 3-wide situations so far here tonight. Thankfully, she got out of that, and well, she's outside the top 5 right now. No points at the moment for her, but Aaron Abel's getting everything right here, because not only does he have the lead, he's also got the fastest lap in this heat right now. 16.535, and that could award him the pole position for the feature event, trying to get his first win of the 2026 season. Of course, there's only been one other race that was won by Barretto. Of course, Aaron Abel, you know, I mentioned this, and I actually am going to mention this. I mention this later on tonight. You guys are going to see the 2.4 hours of Daytona over in the Flowmaster GT Racing Championship. That is Trey Wright's series that he does on his channel. We're going to be doing a collaboration, trying out that new YouTube feature, so you're going to see that on our channel, as well as the North American Sim Racing Network tonight. So tune in for that starting at 8 p.m. tonight, just a few miles over at the Daytona International Speedway. And I mentioned in that race, you know, Aaron Abel and Alexander Rowe both in that event, that Aaron Abel, he wants to beat Alexander Rowe this year. Of course, Alexander Rowe beat Aaron Abel in 2 of the championships, and Aaron Abel had the championship lead in the finale of both of those series, the Sprint Series and the Light Series East. Well, right now, Aaron Abel's doing that as, oh boy! Oh man, I'm getting ready for next week, guys. And I tell you, we've got it right here in front of us now with these Pro Series drivers, but just wait until next week. They're going to be doing the same thing, and we're going to have ourselves a lot more guys in contention for it. Kirsten Bell trying to get a point here. And up to the 4th position, Logan Williams holding on to the last point right now here in the first heat, but Aaron Abel's got a 2nd lead. But here comes Daniel Paulus Jr. here in this 54 machine. You know how good of a driver he is. And Paulus is starting to reel in that 16 machine here. So we're about halfway through Heat 1 of the Central Florida Showdown.
and you touched on it, these Pro Series riders, they are some of the best from 2025, and a lot of them are some of the best in the World Cup Series. So even though this is the Pro Series, a lot of these you will see next weekend. The season opener as Peterson fell again into Logan Williams, and we saw Logan Williams battle with his brother in the heat last week. Didn't really move him too much as his brother just washed up, but flip side of that, he is getting moved a ton by Kirsten Bell, and these two are going at it again. These two split series and post series champions last year cannot get away from each other. Still 3 wide, but still going up top 3 wide, and this place is amazing, but that's not amazing.
And they're not actually going to wreck there, no caution. But that happened to Stewart last week in the feature event at South Boston with Kirsten Bell, and more damage on the 35 machine. Thankfully, this is the heat race that it's happening in, but none of those guys are going to get any points at this point here in this heat race. And how about Daniel Paulus Jr.? I mean, he is on a rail right now. He's got the fastest lap here, looking to get that pole position for the feature. Trying to close in on Aaron Abel. He's got 9 laps to do it here. And he seems to be a lot more centered on the corner of the racetrack than that 16 does. Michael Lewis has comfortably been in 3rd most of this run. Logan Williams and Kirsten Bell continue to battle for position right here. That is for 4th. And, well, back here, it really doesn't matter for position because outside the top 5, you're not going to get any points in the heat. Matthew Hubert, or should I say Duncan Ward there in the 13 machine, as I think the caution came out. And Haley Anderson Jr.'s got some damage in the 67. It looks like someone punted her around into the inside wall.
Well, Dan Paulus Jr. was closing in, and now he is going to be closed back in with a very late race restart here.
He's going to have a shot at getting this Heat 1 win and 10 points towards the championship. Did not get any points last week at South Boston, so a huge opportunity for him here tonight. It's Aaron Abel 4th in the standings, got 14 total points last week, looking to possibly take the points lead once we're all said and done here. Well, let's go ahead and see what happened real quick and then get back to racing here in Heat number 1. BodyArmor Pro Series, the new Smyrna Speedway. Well, and we see this a lot here in New Smyrna Speedway, where these guys overshoot turn number 2, and Haley Anderson Jr. just overshot it with someone to her outside. Duncan Ward nowhere to go and pushes up into the 67, up into the outside wall, and Anderson Jr. loses control of that machine and into the inside wall. The classic New Smyrna inside wall slide as well. We've seen that before, and going around there in the 67 machine. And enough to trigger the yellow flag right about there. No? There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, and Emily York Watson that was kind of coming in there on the 67 was facing the wrong way on the racetrack. So, tough break there for Haley Anderson Jr., but car's still good, and of course this is not a qualifying race to get into the race. Everyone's going to be in the feature event, so we'll see how it all ends up shaking out for as the rest of the night goes along.
Well, aggressive is a understatement. Haley Anderson Jr. being and playing with Duncan, and Duncan had enough. Got dunked on here in Heat number 1, and right there with the 35 and 52 about to go into turn 3 is what about the caution, and it's going to be interesting. We're going to have a late race restart with about 5 laps to go. Aaron Abel's been dominating this heat so far, but Daniel Paulus Jr. looked strong right before that caution. So, gotta see if he can pull off the late race win in the first heat of the night.
Yeah, the Mango Man looking to get some redemption from what happened to him last year in the Wall Cup Series. I know he's got that on his mind here as it starts in a week's time, but he's got an opportunity to get a heat win here ahead of Aaron Abel, get his first points of the season. Let's see if he does that here in the new Smyrna Speedway and Central Florida Showdown here in the BodyArmor Pro Series. We're back here, and how about this to close out heat number 1 here tonight from New Smyrna Speedway? Going to be a 5-lap shootout to determine the winner. 10 points towards the champion. Fastest lap held by Daniel Paulus Jr. I think at this point the tires are worn out a bit too much for them to change that, so that's going to be either the inside lane or the outside lane for the feature here in just a few moments. But we got 10 points to give out in a heat race victory here from New Smyrna Speedway, and it's Aaron Abel, Daniel Paulus Jr., Michael Lewis, Logan Williams looking to go back-to-back on heat wins, and Kirsten Bell. Here we go, 5 laps to go here at the New Smyrna Speedway, and a great jump out of Aaron Abel on the 16.
And we saw
Look at
before
that.
that caution that Dan Paul Stream was closing back in, and you touched on it, trying to go back to back on heat wins. I believe it was heat race number 1 that Logan Williams won last week. And look at Kirsten Bell top to the bottom here, looking to follow Logan Williams. These two have been following each other all heat race basically. Now Logan Williams trying to close in to the 16 with just 3 laps to go.
Yeah, Daniel Paulus Jr., I thought he had an opportunity of winning this heat. He may not even get any points here. Matthew Hubert, Alexander Rowe trying to crack into the top 5 here. And Logan Williams is close enough to possibly make something work here on Aaron Abel for this race victory in heat number 1, trying to get 2 heat wins to start this season off. Of course, only 6 events have these heat races. Aaron Abel really sliding up there in the Michael Lewis. They're both in the outside wall, and Alexander Rowe is going to slip back there, and here comes Logan Williams, and is he going to do it again? White flag here in heat number 1 for Aaron Abel. Logan Williams is right there, looking to strike, looking to do the same thing he did to his brother last week, and nope, no caution, no caution. Thought the caution came out. It did not. Aaron Abel, he is going to be able to hold on, lead the most laps here in heat number 1. How about that for the Greg Biffle tribute? Great to see that here tonight. So it's Aaron Abel, Logan Williams, Kirsten Bell, Matthew Hubert, and how about Eric Monaco sneaking out of nowhere, getting that last point here in heat number 1 in New Smyrna.
My goodness, and to think, Alex, we still have 75 laps left here tonight.
And then we got the Sprint Series, and we got the Smooth Fest next week. Oh, we love it here in New Smyrna Speedway. You know what? We've been here in New Smyrna Speedway for our opening clash. We call it the Smooth Fest. It's been the Smooth Fest for over a decade. We've been here in New Smyrna longer than they were at the LA Coliseum in NASCAR, and longer than they've been to Bowman Gray. Of course, it's going to be the 2nd year there, which I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. Hey, by the way, NASCAR actually got it right. I'm happy about that. I'm looking forward to the real-life NASCAR season this year. Kudos to them. And Mark Martin, you are such a good dude, man. You really are. Thank you, Mark Martin. We owe Mark Martin a lot. All right, Daniel Paulus Jr. is going to be on the front row. 16.372 is what needs to be beat in the second heat if they want the inside lane for the feature. And then you got Kirsten Bell with the second fastest lap. Matthew Hubert with a pretty good fastest lap right there. And then you got the 99 of Michael Lewis, Emily York Watson, Logan Williams, Alexander Rowe, Aaron Abel, who won this race, going to be starting in the 8th row. 13 machine there of Duncan Ward. Really didn't see him too much in this race. 44 of Eric Monaco. 35 of Stuart Gradden and Haley Anderson Jr. at the back of the field there. That's how they'll line up for the feature event. And, oh boy, thoughts on what we're going to see the rest of the night, Nathan? Because if it's anything like that, it's going to be a fun night. But with that being said, unlike at South Boston where we were seeing tons of lead changes, Aaron Abel took the lead and he led over 20 laps in this heat race and got himself 10 more points towards the championship. He's racking them up here in these heat races.
Absolutely, and you know, there's only 6 of these events that have the heat races. Well, these are 10 extra points that not many people can get. So if Abel can get as many points as he can with these, that's going to be very important towards the championship. Of course, Igor Boretto will be in that second heat. He could just do the same thing, and it won't matter of what Aaron Abel just did. So, gotta see how it all goes down with a chaotic first heat. Saw a lot of being and banging and classic short track racing, and we far from being done here tonight.
We are, so let's go ahead and get on to it here. Heat number 2, featuring the other 12 drivers of the BodyArmor Pro Series. We're gonna get to that right now. Aaron Abel gets the Heat 1 win. We'll see what he does in the feature, and it's Daniel Paulus Jr. with the fastest lap with that front row start. Let's go ahead and get the Heat number 2 here from the Smyrna Speedway in the BodyArmor Pro Series. And after a wild heat number 1, we're going to have ourselves another wild heat number 2 here from the New Smyrna Speedway, and some excellent racing there. Aaron Abel getting the win. Of course, Daniel Paulus Jr. is going to get the front row for the feature event. But who will get the honor of being alongside him and possibly getting the pole position? He needs to beat a 16.372 in order to get the inside lane. So you need that fastest lap, the fastest driver to be inside lane. So all of these guys are rooting for that fastest lap, because that inside lane is absolutely where you want to be at the start of these races. We saw that at South Boston last week, saw that here tonight as well. All right, Nathan, we had a pretty crazy heat number 1. How do you think this one's going to go down? And who do you think is going to get the win here in heat number 1? Heat number 2. Heat number 1 was just now. Heat number 2 is where we're on right now.
Well, if it's anything like that first heat, I think it's going to be very, very chaotic once again. But I think it won't be as... Well, I think I'm not going to pick someone in the middle of the field. I'm going to go with someone that's kind of up towards the front here. And you know what? I'm going to do it. Give me the number 59, Zachary Fitzwater, to get the job done here in heat number 2.
That'd be pretty cool seeing Fitzy here. Of course, he starts third there. Front rows Ladovic Charette and Rogel Dorn, 2 of the best drivers from last season here in the series. Row number 2 is Zachary Fitzwater and Igor Barreto right there. Of course, Zachary Fitzwater didn't get any points last week, so I know he'd love to get some here tonight. Of course, Igor Barreto got the win last week, so he's currently the points leader here in the series. By 1 point at the exact moment, though, ahead of Aaron Abel, who's got 24 at the moment from winning that heat race just now. Brendan Wilmington, Chase McClure, they're in row number 3, and then you got our defending BodyArmor Pro Series champion and defending winner of the Central Florida Showdown, I should say. He also won the South Boston Showdown last year. That's Blaine Keys in the number 14. And then we've got the 26 there of Isaac Nichols. And, of course, Colonel Caleb Rose, you know, he thought he was in tow car last week, knocking out all the guys that he had. This is the BodyArmor Pro Series. We got some goofy stuff, but we're not as goofy as that. So we'll see if he gets some redemption from everything that went down last week. He's alongside the 05 of Travis Crampton. And then you got Andrew Williams and the 86 of Ryan Durrani in the final row. You already picked Zachary Fitzwater, so let's go ahead and get these guys to roll off here for heat number 2 from the new Smyrna Speedway. Whereas Ladovic Charette, she won a heat race last week at South Boston Speedway. Those were her only points that she got last week. Did not point in the feature event. I know she wants to start alongside her colleague at GRT, Danny Pauls Jr. there. So a lot of folks under the GRT banner and that whole organization, including driver alongside Ladovic, Rogel Dorn, going to be driving that 51 for Interests Motor Racing. And of course, Zurich Radden kind of just overseeing all of the teams now, in a way. There's going to be a good announcement about Stewart here shortly, unless it's already been announced. I'm not sure if it has or not, but I'll let Matt and all those guys make that announcement in due time. And we'll see if Ladovic Charette can make a good announcement of her presence in this series and get another heat win as heat number 2 is underway here from New Smyrna Speedway. Trying to hold that inside lane off the start, and she will hold it ahead of Zachary Fitzwater there. A little bit more orderly of a start than what we saw in heat number 1.
It kind of reminds me of the duels here tonight. I think we kind of saw that last week as well. One heat was calm, one heat was not so calm. And we definitely saw heat number 1 was very, very chaotic. And definitely a lot more calm. Here comes the 62 Bloomington on the move. Blaine Keys, you know what he's all about in the series last year. Might make it really wide, and he will arrive at the 3rd place spot.
Blaine Keys drives for Brendan Wilmington, Pacific Racing over there in the Wall Cup Series. So Brendan, in a way, is probably happy to let his driver go, but Brendan's going to get stuck in that outside lane. Rogel Dorn there to the inside as well. Andrew Williams started 11th in this race. He's already halfway through the field. The inside there of Caleb Rose. Ryan Durrani started dead last. He's trying to move his way up as well. And for the race lead, here comes Fitzy, Zachary Fitzwater. Of course, these heat races are not official wins on the channel. Almost putting Ladovic in the outside wall. And of course, Fitzwater's kind of made the announcement that this is going to be his last season full-time competition on the channel. So I know he wants to go out with a bang and get some race victories, and he's got an opportunity of doing so here in the Pro Series and trying to close up to this guy on the all-time wins list. 35 career wins, looking to make it 36 here tonight. That's Blaine Keys as Ladovic gets back to the inside for the race lead. And Brendan Wilmington battling with Rogel Dorn there for the 4th position. And here comes Andrew Williams, who's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder from losing the heat last week to his brother. Whoa.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that might get interesting here in 3 and 4. And it might get interesting. But gonna calm it down for a second. But I definitely agree. I think Andrew Williams definitely wants some revenge in a heat win here. Because he didn't get moved by his brother, but he definitely might have gotten intimidated by a little bit by Logan, and it cost him 10 points. So we'll see if we can capitalize here up into the top 5 now. But we'll all single filing out a little bit. Definitely a lot more of a calmer heat 2 than what we just saw in heat number 1.
There's last week's feature winner all the way at the back of the field. Igor Barreto struggling a little bit here tonight in New Smyrna Speedway. Fastest lap. Is that any surprise? It's Blaine Keys, and he's already beat Paul's time, so no matter what, these guys are going to start in the inside lane for the feature event. And right now, looking like Blaine Keys is going to win the pole for the Central Florida Showdown here in just a few moments. He's looking to win the heat race as well. He's looking to get that mojo back. It's the first time since Drew Webb won the championship in 2024 in this series that Blaine has not been the points leader in the BodyArmor Pro Series, but he wants to change that here tonight. He got himself a couple of points last week, 2 to be exact, but a win here in the heat, a win in the feature, and he can be right up top the point standings once again, where he is very used to being here in this series. And he just took it right away there from Ludovic Charette. And Blaine Keys, halfway through heat 2, is out front here at New Smyrna Speedway, but Ludovic trying to get back to the inside, not able to do it right there. Fitzwater holding on to the 3rd position. Andrew Williams is 4th, and then for the final point, Rogaldorn to the inside of Brendan Wilmington.
I think Fitzwater is falling off a little bit. We kind of saw this in the first heat where it looked like that. Oh, who was it? Who was in the lead up Lincoln? But
Aaron Abel won the first heat. He was dominant. Paul is trying to close up to him. He's got another pass for the race lead. And we got Ludovic getting into Blaine. Oh boy. They really had to check up, and now Fitzwater's going to have a shot at this. And Blaine's not going to be happy about that. Getting put into the outside wall, nearly getting put into the outside wall by this championship rival from the 2024 Wall Cup. So it's hard to believe that whole season was well over a year ago. What a great battle they had. But they are still competitors on the racetrack here in the Pro Series, which is great to see. Of course, Ludovic not driving in the Wall Cup Series. She's going to be an owner, but that rivalry is still there, and Blaine is not going to let Ludovic get this one. Here comes Fitzwater for second. Fitzwater's got a really good opportunity of winning this race. And Blaine just increased that fastest lap there. They're going for it up front between Blaine and Ludovic, but neither of them may get the win because here comes Fitzy in that 59.
You know, my point that I blanked on was that Enable kind of fell off in the middle to late stages of Heat 1, and I thought that was happening to Fitzwater, but maybe he was just saving his tires and letting Keys and Ludovic go at it for the win. Because that definitely happened, and now Fitzwater is in the mix for the Heat 2 victory. And it's going to be interesting, because if these 3 tangle, maybe, just maybe, Anna Williams had a chance. I don't know if the 14 will have any say in that, but Ludovic wants back at Keys definitely after what just happened.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen for Fitzwater. I just don't quite think he has the equipment to get up to the 00 and the 14. And how about this? Even though it's equal ratings this time around, Blaine Keys just can't get him away from the race lead here in the BodyArmor Pro Series, which, you know, it's interesting that I say that. The last time he won in the series with the Daytona 125K last year, it's almost been a whole year since Blaine has won in this series. He won the first 3 races in 2025. Of course, this is not an official win, but he's going to be starting on the pole for the feature event there of that incredible fastest lap. How about Caleb Rosa? These guys are still getting those fastest laps in. As for third, Andrew Williams all over the back bumper of Fitzwater. They're trying to get a couple more points. Of course, Andrew Williams got a lot of points in his heat last week, but that's all that he got. He didn't get anything in the feature. No, he'd love to get something here tonight in this one. Brennan trying to take that last point away from Caleb Rose, who took it away from him. And Ludovic trying to take this heat win away from Blaine Keys as it's 2 laps to go here at the new Smyrna Speedway for our defending BodyArmor Pro Series champion.
Oh, that's a bad 1 and 2. Ludovic's going to get there side by side. Almost contact. There might have been contact in the back between Wilmington and Rose, I believe. But side by side for the heat win. Keys trying to hang on up top. If these 2 tangle, Williams might be in position, a little bit of contact.
And Blaine's going to cross back over here. Ludovic made the move a bit too early, and Blaine Keys has the inside lane on Ludovic Charette, and Blaine's not going to let her get it this time, as Keys is going to win heat number 2 on a last lap pass. How about that? What a battle between those 2 drivers, and they are still, you still can't keep them from the front, and they put on a show here in heat number 2. No doubt about it, that was fun.
Might sound like a broken record, but we love New Smyrna for that. Exactly. Some 2 last lap passes on the final lap. 1 and 2, and another in 3 and 4.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My goodness. You know, it's a very big difference in the style of racing that we get at South Boston compared to here in New Smyrna. These guys, they're overshooting, but not the way they do over there, and they're just going all out into the corner. A much faster racetrack, and oh boy, that was some fun stuff. How about that? How about Blaine Keys? Perfect sweep for him right there. He will be your pole sitter for the feature event alongside Daniel Paulus Jr. Ladovic got the second fastest time. She'll start third. Caleb Rose there right behind those guys. Rogel with the fourth quickest time. Igor Barreto's going to be starting ninth. Watch out for Igor. Possibly get another feature win. And you got the 86 of Ryan Durrani, 23 of Andrew Williams, 62 of Brendan Willington, 26 of Isaac Nichols, 59 of Zachary Fitzwater. Just didn't quite have a fast car. Going to get some points out of it, though. And you got the 05 machine there of Travis Crampton and the 88 machine of Chase McClure there. That's how they'll start on that inside lane in the feature event. And we got ourselves some points to hand out in this heat race as well. Blaine Keys with 10, Ladovic Charette with 6, Andrew Williams with 4, Zachary Fitzwater with 2, and Caleb Rose with a point from this second heat. So that's going to help those guys out long term in terms of the championship. Every point's going to matter. Only 17 races, though you do get the additional heat races to try to get some more points. Going to be a lot of fun as we move throughout the rest of the season. But Nathan, after what we just saw here in that incredible battle Blaine and Ladovic had, do you think those two might be going forward in the feature event here in just a couple moments?
I do definitely think that those two could be some contenders here in the feature, but I also think Caleb Rose, maybe Andrew Williams, Glenn Wilmington from this heat looked pretty strong. And I do think in that first heat that Alexander Rowe looked strong late, and then some others as well. My uncle got a top 5 late as well, so I do think you got some favorites, but as always with an equal lane series, and with that range, one heat race you can be good, and then the feature you can have a bad set of random lanes, and that can hurt you. So just gotta see what ends up happening. 225 lap heats in the books, and decided to get all 24 drives on track for 50 laps for the feature here tonight.
Going to be a lot of fun here. Let's get to it. Blaine Keys will lead us off here in the feature event of the Central Florida Showdown here from the New Smyrna Speedway. A lot of great action still yet to come here in the second race of the 2026 BodyArmor Pro Series. And here we go, ready for the second feature event of the 2026 BodyArmor Pro Series season. We're here at the New Smyrna Speedway for the Central Florida Showdown. And this is the race that awards all the points. Of course, we awarded a decent amount of points. So it's not all the points, I'm lying. We awarded a decent amount of points in those heat races. Blaine Keys, of course, won his heat race, got the fastest lap of the night. He starts on the pole, and he's got a good opportunity at winning this race 2 years in a row. He won this event last year in the BodyArmor Pro Series in New Smyrna. He's got a great opportunity at doing so again. But Ladovic Charette put on a great show with him in that heat race, and we'll have to see how they do battle. You got Caleb Rose up here, Daniel Paulus Jr., Kirsten Bell. We just need Duncan Ward up here. We just need Duncan Ward. Where's he at? Because you got all those guys who were up there in the Wawa Cup Series last year. But Nathan, the big difference from this year to last year, and this event specifically, is we got 24 cars on the racetrack, a full field here, just like we're going to see in the feature of the Smooth Fest next week. And, of course, we saw all the crazy stuff that happened in the heat races. What are you expecting in this 50-lap feature here for 25 points towards the BodyArmor Pro Series title?
Well, I believe what we saw here in heat number 1 and heat number 2, I think we will see a little bit of both, possibly. I feel like probably lean more towards what heat number 1 was, just due to the fact that we have doubled the cars. We have 24 instead of 12. That's the most we've had all night. That's more than what we had last year in the feature. So I do think the aggression is going to be fairly intense here tonight, and especially with this series with only the top 10 getting points. So it's going to be fairly interesting on who can get some points here tonight. And I don't know, I'm excited. This was a ton of fun, and we got to see how it all goes down, because we got a lot of World Cup Series drivers that are getting some extra track time, and we got to see which one of them gets the win, or if a non-World Cup Series driver can get the win here and seal it.
Yeah, of course, all these guys have pretty much an equal shot at getting it done, and we know how crazy this racetrack can be. And you said it earlier on, Nathan, you can work your way from the back to the front here at New Smyrna Speedway. And I think it's a little bit harder to do that here than we saw last week at South Boston, but 50 laps, still plenty of time, and these guys, most of these guys really know this racetrack well. And they want to know it well for next week as well in that Smooth Fest. Just like Blaine Keys wants to know it, get his season started off right. He won the Melillo Smooth Fest back in 2023. Very first Wawa Cup Series event with the Blaine Keys. So, he definitely marked his territory in this series very early on. Daniel Paulus Jr. did the same last year in the Wawa Cup Series. Of course, he's starting on the outside pole right there. Ludovic Schret, Kirsten Bell there. They are in row number 2. And then you got Caleb Rose and Matthew Hubert in row number 3 with Rogel Dorn, Michael Lewis in row 4. Last week's winner, Igor Barreto, to the inside of Emily York Watson, Ryan Durrani, Logan Williams, Andrew Williams, Alexander Rowe, Brennan Wilmington. Heat 1 winner, Aaron Abel, starting a little bit deeper in the field than he would have liked for this feature. Isaac Nichols, who hasn't flipped yet, alongside Duncan Ward, Zachary Fitzwater, Eric Monaco, Travis Crampton, Stuart Gradden, and then Chase McClure and Hallie Anderson Jr. at the back of the field. All right, Nathan, 24 drivers. Will the Staple Jinx happen? We'll find out. Who do you think's getting this race victory in the second race of the 2026 BodyArmor Pro Series season?
Well, to this driver, he better hope that the Staple Jinx does not happen. He wants some revenge from last week, and I think that's gonna happen. Hopefully, maybe. We'll see. Give me the number 23 of Andrew Williams, starting mid-pat, but on the inside lane. That's very crucial here at New Smyrna. So he looks strong in his heat. So we'll see what that 23 Dodge can do here in the feature.
He's going to have a good opportunity on that inside lane. He's going to have a good start to this race, especially if you start inside lane. He's got to generally have a great start to their races, but it's 50 laps. A lot can happen. Let's see what does happen. Let's get these guys to roll off here in the Central Florida Showdown. And of course, we're going to see Blaine Keys, Daniel Paulus Jr. Both of these drivers have driven for Team Velocity-Star before. Of course, Blaine Keys drives for Team Velocity-Star in the Truck Series. Didn't quite have the season he wanted over there. Did get a couple of wins. Won the finale of the Truck Series last season. Of course, Daniel Paulus Jr. wishes he won the finale. If he did, he would have been the Wawa Cup Series champion. He's got another year to do it, and this race is going to help him set up for next week. Ludovic Schret, of course, wants to get another race victory ahead of Blaine Keys. It's going to be a lot of fun here tonight. 24 cars on the racetrack. And it's a very quick half mile. And it's going to be a very quick race here for the second feature of the year. Here we go. We're green flag racing and we're underway here at the New Smyrna Speedway in the BodyArmor Pro Series. Nice and orderly start there as Blaine Keys will lead lap number 1. Ludovic Schret, Caleb Rose at inside lane getting the advantage for now. Ludovic Schret going for the race lead here on lap number 2. And she's got the inside lane there on the 14. You got Caleb Rose trying to make some moves. He's had a relatively clean night so far. It was not as clean last Friday night. So he's going to try to find himself back up front, have an opportunity at this one. He's got a good shot. You know, he hasn't won too much on the channel. I think he's only got maybe 4 wins as a driver on the channel, but he's given us so many W's on the channel that we can't even count them. And you have too, Nathan. Keep that in mind. You guys do a lot of work for us here on AG the channel, and we appreciate all of that. And Rogel Dorn's going to try to get to the inside of Caleb Rose there for second. And here comes last week's winner, Igor Barreto, with a nose to the inside of Blaine Keys for 4th.
Blaine Keys almost chopped
off
me there, and Stewart is having a rough start to this season already.
Yeah, it's not been a good start for Stuart Gradden. That's the 3rd time he's gotten wrecked out, and that happened on the front stretch there, and our first caution of the night here at the New Smyrna Speedway. And Eric Monaco and Aaron Abel have damage. Tough break there for Aaron Abel. Significant damage on the 16 machine.
I wonder if there was like 2 different wrecks, because it looks like the skid marks down the front stretch, and then there's almost skid marks in turn, or off turn 2.
You might be right about that. Well, let's go ahead and see. Ludovic Schret is your race leader. in the 00. No skid marks off of turn 2, I don't think. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. They are there. Let's see what happened to bring out the first caution of the night here in this Central Florida Showdown in the BodyArmor Pro Series. It's been a wild night so far, and we're just getting started here in this feature event. Well, 3 wide. Lots of times they can get out of it. They didn't here. Stuart Grattan actually pushed up on Duncan Ward right there. And then Duncan had nowhere to go. Aaron Abel up on that outside lane, and Duncan getting a little squirrely off the exit, and Stuart Grattan getting clipped, and that's a bad angle right there. Up into the outside wall for Stuart Grattan, and Duncan Ward nowhere to go. Eric Monaco, we saw the damage that he had, and that's where Aaron Abel got a significant amount of his damage. Didn't really seem to see any damage on Duncan Ward's machine, but he definitely accumulated some right there as Hallie Anderson Jr. again going around. She went around in the heat race. Ooh, boy, that was close right there. Eric Monaco barely avoiding that one. Tough break for those guys involved. Nobody's going to get knocked out from this accident, thankfully. But Stuart Grattan again with damage. This has happened to him last week at South Boston, and happened to him in the heat race here tonight, and happened again here in the feature at New Smyrna Speedway.
Blue wide sometimes works at New Smyrna, but this time it does not. And ran into Ward into April, and then they just all collide. And tough way for Eric Monaco, and right there, a very close call with Monaco and Hallie Anderson Jr. And I'm noticing a theme. Duncan has had a rough night with crashes, same as Stuart and Hallie Anderson Jr. So very unfortunate. I believe there's another spin off to turn number 2. Don't know what ended up happening. Oh, Crampton got a little apology off
extracurricular activity there.
I knew I wasn't seeing things, but no damage. So
He's still good. Love tap there with Chase.
Little
Like,
bit.
what the heck, man? You think you win one Thanksgiving 500 and best driver in the world? That's how it works. You got a lot of best drivers here in the BodyArmor Pro Series, and one of the best is Ladovic Charette, 2024 Wawa Cup Series champion, leading this field here at the new Smyrna Speedway. Let's see what she does on the restart here in the Central Florida Showdown. And we're back here at the new Smyrna Speedway BodyArmor Pro Series action, Central Florida Showdown. Our next race going to be a little bit up the road at the Daytona International Speedway on February 13th, Friday the 13th, for the Daytona 125K. Part of Daytona Speed Weeks. We're bringing back the duel. We're bringing back single car qualifying only for the Daytona 500. The only race that will have qualifying in the Wawa Cup Series this season. Everything else will be done in-game on the qualifying, which means the qualifying rating is going to mean something this year. But we got a race here. Before we get to that, 41 laps to go with Ladovic Charette, Rogaldorn, Caleb Rose, Igor Barreto, and Blaine Keys, the top 5. Emily York Watson blew up under the caution. She's out of the race. Everybody else still on the lead lap, including all those involved in the accident. Caleb Rose looking to the inside, and almost an accident between Blaine Keys and Igor Barreto.
my goodness, Blank, he's about to turn last week's winner, and now as karma, he's gonna get put to the outside by the Mango Man himself, Dan Paulson. But how about this? We not said his name all night. 120 is up here now, side by side for the race lead. That is Rogaldorn and Ladovic Charette. And I think we're going to see this all the way long. We got Igor on the move. We got Duane on the move. Caleb Rose, he's been quiet up to this point. Oh, a lot of these cars might have been saving the car a little bit for the feature. I don't know. But we definitely got some new faces here early in the feature.
You know, I said at the top of the show, are the odds of us, you know, having a multi-time winner already at this point in the season, you know, it's equal rating. It's just not going to happen. Well, Igor Barreto wants to prove me wrong. Here he is, battling for second with Caleb Rose. He started in the 9th position, so he already started kind of up front, but this 71 is wicked quick right now, and he's going to be able to take the race lead. Rogel a little wide off the exit of the corner. Rogel won 4 times last year, more than anybody else. Igor Barreto's about to win a second race. Of course, it's still a long ways left to go. You got Ryan Durrani up here as well. Of course, he had a great season as an owner last year. We're going to back that up again this year. Of course, got the Turkey Hill Truck Series Championship with Matthew Hubert. And Igor Barreto all over the back bumper of Rogaldorn here for the top position. Ladovic Charette in 5th, a bit of a 5-car breakaway. How about Isley Nichols, who's on his side on his lid a couple of times last week at South Boston. He is 6th. Kirsten Bell, Blaine Key, Zachary Fitzwater. Paul is holding on to the last point right now. And, of course, the fastest lap is going to determine the starting lineup for Daytona. Durrani currently has that in the 86. We're still early on here in this feature event with Rogaldorn still out front here on lap number 16.
Looking strong, line to line, though. Looks very strong in that number 86 machine. He had one heck of a year last year as an owner and everything, really, basically all year. While the Cup Series with Anna Miller, of course, in the Tokyo Truck Series with Matthew Hubert, Emily Bjork Watson for the majority of the Lenovo Pro Series, worked out really well. So trying to carry that over here in the BodyArmor Pro Series with a race winning attorney might be in position to do so. Might get to the inside of Dawn, but oh no! Oh my goodness, that was a
squirrel. Oh my goodness, she's really all over the place there. Someone blew off Logan Williams, and they were reacting to that ahead of him. And Ryan Ronnie, he actually almost got in to the number 4 Rogaldorn right there, sent him around, but they were actually reacting to this accident that occurred, and the caution's out for a second time tonight, and Logan Williams is done. It's never been more over for Logan Williams, that's for sure. My goodness. Of course, Aaron Abel, we already knew had damage. Rogel's going to hold on to the race lead, but that 86 was coming in fast. Igor Barreto, Ludovic Schreck, Caleb Rose, the top 5. And Logan's going to join Emily York Watson and Brennan Wilmington. That this was a big wreck, whatever this was, down the backstretch, probably off the exit in turn number 2. And got 3 guys who are now out of the race here in the Central Florida Showdown at New Smyrna Speedway.
Such a shame. I knew something was up with how Vogel kind of entered turn 3, and it ended up being the slow car up to 17, and that's unfortunate. Looks like a big time wet somewhere. This skimmers all over the place now here at New Smyrna. Then turn 1, turn 2, turn 4.
Ooh, that's a bad angle.
That does not look good off turn 4, does it?
The nature of this racetrack, we're going to see it next Friday night as well in the Smooth Fest. More than likely we will. Those guys are going to put on a show. They put on a show so far. Royal Dorn, of course, won all those races in the BodyArmor Pro Series last year. Almost won the championship and had a dismal season over in the Wawa Cup Series. That's going to change this year. Teaming up with Ludovic Schreck, Grattan Racing Technologies, and that 51 machine that has had so much success in the past already. Looking forward to seeing what Rogel can do. Looking forward to seeing Rogel in a good car again. And probably dominate some races in the Wawa Cup Series, back to kind of where he belongs. You know, he started off pretty poorly, had a great season in 2024, kind of fell off, and then, of course, last year happened. But he's got a shot here tonight. Let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the second caution of the night here in the Central Florida Showdown and get back to racing here at the New Smyrna Speedway. Going in the turn number 3, 3Y. We saw this a little earlier with Stuart Grattan and Aaron Abel and Duncan Ward. Logan Williams just moving up a little bit, did not get a good apex into the corner, and they get into each other a little earlier than they would have wanted to right here. That's a bad angle to go into, straight into the outside wall for Logan Williams and Brendan Wilmington. And then again, you see the track entry there, it juts out, and the 17 with heavy front end and rear end damage on that machine. And Brendan Wilmington also going to join him in the garage after that, and that was a massive accident for both of those drivers. Tough break for Logan Williams. He was at one point the points leader, won that first heat race last week at South Boston, but not going to get any points in the feature here tonight in New Smyrna Speedway.
Blue line, once again, does not work, and this is a little bit more egregious. A sin from Logan Williamson, big hit into that outside wall. Great luck performance from the Z5 of Crampton. Had to split through a bunch of different drivers, and unfortunately that is a lot of damage for Brendan Wilmington and a lot of damage for Logan Williams, and that's what we ended up causing of what the leaders were doing a little bit weird down the back stretch in 3 and 4, and unfortunate break for those two, but that's just how New Smyrna goes sometimes, and blue line is a little bit sketchy at points on this racetrack.
It absolutely is. A tough break for Logan Williams. Brendan Wilmington getting knocked out of this one, but So we got a race to run, and Rogaldorn is leading it in the number 4. Let's see what he does on the restart here in the Central Florida Showdown from the new Smyrna Speedway. Now we're back here at the new Smyrna Speedway, just about halfway through the feature event of the Central Florida Showdown. Rogaldorn, your race leader. Ryan Ronnie, Igor Bretta, Ludovic Schreck, Caleb Rose, the top 5. You got Isaac Nichols, Kirsten Bell, Zachary Fitzwater, Blaine Keys, and Daniel Paul Sr. all in points-paying positions right now. A lot of guys still with good race cars, some with less than good race cars, like Eric Monaco, Stuart Gratton, and Aaron Abel. Of course, a big wreck there between Logan Williams and Brennan Wilmington. They are both out of the race, joining Emily York-Watson in the garage. 26 laps to go here in New Smyrna. That goes by very quick if this thing stays green. Who knows if it will? Rogaldorn's hoping to pull away right here as we're back underway in the second race of the season.
Oh boy, Ludovic side by side with last week's winner of Eagle Bretta. And how about someone that had a terrible South Boston flip? Basically 1.5 times. Isaac Nichols inside of the top 5 now. And Durrani, once again, looks very strong on this restart.
Right, Ryan's going to get a nose to the inside for the race lead on Rogaldorn, trying to take this one away from the driver who won the most races in this series a year ago. Ludovic's back up to 3rd. You can't count her out. She has had an excellent run in this race and has kept it in the top 3 nearly the entire day, both in the heat and the feature. Isaac Nichols up there. How about Fitzwater trying to move his way through the field as well, trying to get a feature win, trying to get what I would believe be his 33rd career win on the channel if he were to get it done here tonight. We nearly got 3 wide. How about Michael Lewis in the number 99? Trying to get a nose to the inside of Daniel Paul Sr. Igor Bretto slipping back there. Durrani's still out front. Ludovic's going to take 2nd away from Rogaldorn. We've got ourselves 22 laps to go here at New Smyrna Speedway, and Rogel back to the inside of the 00. And Isaac Nichols is coming in fast here in this number 26.
Isaac might have a shot here. Didn't really know where he came from. But he is up towards the front when it matters most with 21 laps to go. Fitzwater, same thing. We got a couple of Aussies, I believe, up towards the front here with Isaac Nichols and Zachary Fitzwater. Kind of up front out of nowhere. It might have been saving the tires. Because Isaac Nichols is absolutely flying right now.
Isaac Nichols is going to take 2nd away from Rogaldorn, trying to close in on Ryan Durrani, who's your race leader. It's been a while since Durrani's won as a driver, as Hallie Anderson Jr. is down the pit lane, and the engine went south on that 67 machine. Not a good night for Hallie Anderson Jr., no doubt about it. But Durrani tried to get one as a race driver. And of course, this car won a couple of times when Justin Seidel was driving it last year in the Pro Series. And of course, Andrew Miller also drove for Durrani Racing the series. Now Durrani's just a driver. There's no more official teams in the Pro Series. It's just the drivers, and that makes it a lot more interesting in terms of how we focus on, a lot simpler on how this series works now. And Durrani doing an excellent job trying to pull away, trying to do what Aaron Abel did in the first heat, just pull away and get this race victory. But Isaac Nichols, you also got Ludovic Schreck there. They both want this win. And they both want 2nd place as well, as Ludovic is fighting hard for it there on the back bumper of Nichols. And she's going to be able to take that 2nd spot away, or at least attempt to do so, to the inside, as we have 16 laps to go.
Side by side for 2nd. Oh my goodness, Zachary Fitzwater. Oh my goodness. I was about to say that we had a battle between Ludovic and Nichols, and then Fitzwater and Bell. Well, never mind. Fitzwater just sent it. There's still going to be a battle, and Fitzwater's going to get one up top off of turn number 4. Bell's not going to be too happy with Fitzwater there. At least he'll still be side by side for the 2nd place spot. And I don't know, I think Durrani has the faster car right now. But I think whoever can decide on who wants to be the challenger to Durrani between these two might have a shot here.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see if these guys can actually get off each other, because something that we see a lot here in New Smyrna Speedway is they get battling for 2nd place, and then the race leader just pulls away. And Durrani's in a great position right now because both Ludovic and Nichols are not getting off each other. They keep on swapping positions. That's slowing them down. And Durrani is he's got less time in front of him, less laps in front of him to be able to possibly just cruise away with this race victory. But Ludovic and Isaac Nichols, even though they kept battling right there, they continue to close in, and it's far from over here. Ludovic, Schreck, Isaac Nichols have a lot of experience I mean, Durrani's actually been around longer than Ladovic in terms of driving. He's got more driving experience in a way, but Ladovic's had more success as a driver. And she's looking to get a race victory here in the Pro Series, be her second one in the past 2 seasons. Great night for Fitzwater. Up here in the 4th position, great to see that out of Fitzy. And how about Michael Lewis in that number 99, running in the top 5 here in the feature event, trying to get some points. Kirsten Bell, Daniel Paulus Jr. battling it. And then you got Alexander Rowe, Rogodorn, Caleb Rose with the last point, but it's a battle back here. Barreto slipped back outside of the points, and nothing for Blaine Keys. He started on the pole for this race. He slipped back, and he's outside the top 10. And not looking good for Blaine in terms of getting any championship points here tonight. Back up front, Ladovic Charette is there, looking to get this race victory right behind the back bumper of Ryan Durrani. Durrani trying to hold off and get this race victory. It'd be a huge one for Durrani if he can pull it off here. 8 laps to go in the Central Florida Showdown.
We have definitely seen a lot of movement throughout the field. Keith was up one at one point. He's not anymore. Same can be said with the 71 of Igor was up one at one point, and now he's outside of the top 10. Shout out to the 99 of Michael Lewis. I picked him to win a heat earlier, and he didn't get the job done there, but ran up front in the heat, and he's casually in the top 5 spot. And unfortunately to Anna Williams, he might be able to steal a point back there with Caleb Rose, but it's not going to be a race win. Not really a staple change because nothing's happened to him, but it's going to come down to these top 2, I think. Ladovic Charette and Durrani with just 5 laps to go here in the Central Florida Showdown.
And Ladovic's got a great opportunity at getting this, but she's not been able to get alongside Durrani at all yet, and even if she does, possibility of a crossover is very likely, and I'm wondering if Ladovic is waiting. Maybe she learned from that first heat, and that battle she had with Blaine Keys, maybe made the move a bit too early, but she's going to make it now. Or at least to try to make it. She's trying to hold back just enough and make the move at the right time so Durrani can't strike back. It's 3 laps to go. Of course, you want to make sure you do get a chance to get that race lead because time is running out, and Durrani's still holding on to this one. Isaac Nichols still 3rd. Michael Lewis taking 4th away from Zachary Fitzwater. Great night for Michael Lewis. Alexander Rose up to 6th. This 6 machine is quick. Kirsten Bell, Caleb Rose, Paulus, and Dorn in the last 2 points-paying positions. And Durrani trying to hold off the 2024 Wawa Cup Series champion behind him. He's going to take the white flag here in New Smyrna Speedway. Will he have enough to hold the 00 off? Will Ladovic have enough to get to the back bumper of the 86? Oh boy, she overshot it. That's going to do it. How about this for Ryan Durrani in the 86 machine? He started dead last in his heat, moved up enough to get a good starting position here tonight in the feature, and Ryan Durrani is going to win the Central Florida Showdown here in the BodyArmor Pro Series. How about that?
A great 2025 as a owner, and he kicks off 2026 with the 2nd event in the BodyArmor Pro Series with a feature win at New Smyrna. What a role he has been on the last year on the channel, and he holds off a former Wawa Cup Series champ to get the race win here at New Smyrna Speedway.
That was an excellent drive out of Ryan Durrani, holding off Ladovic Charette to win this race. But I think going forward, Ladovic has got a good shot at this title. She's shown a lot of speed in these first 2 races, but it's interesting. The whole thing is now there's no ratings, there's nothing. They're just going after it, and that makes it very unique. Isaac Nichols will start on the pole for the Daytona 125K. That's huge right there. We saw what happened there last year, and Blaine Keys just dominated that race. Ryan is going to be outside pole. And then you have Alexander Rowe and Igor Barreto in row 2 for that race. A tie there between Paulus and the 44 machine of Eric Monaco. And I think Paulus is going to have the... No, I think Monaco's going to have the tiebreaker in points. We'll see, but we'll break any ties in points, of course. We got a 3-way tie there between Duncan Ward, Matthew Hubert, Blaine Keys. Of course, we'll determine all the tiebreakers on that fast lap in points, and that's how they'll start for February 13th's race at Daytona in the Daytona 125K. So a couple of weeks off for these guys here in the BodyArmor Pro Series as we get the Wawa Cup Series started next week. her Sprint Series on Wednesday. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great year for us here on AG, the channel. So much great stuff. We've already seen a lot of great stuff here in the BodyArmor Pro Series, and Ryan Durrani getting that race victory as a driver here tonight at the new Smyrna Speedway. I'm sure you're impressed with that one in that 86 team.
Absolutely, a really impressive job, well done from Durrani here, and it's gonna be interesting of how it all goes down throughout the rest of the season. Because maybe, just maybe, Durrani can keep up the momentum, and he had a really good year last year, as I mentioned, and being some of the drivers that he beat here in the feature, like the Dover, Isaac, Fitzwater, Alexander Lowe. We gotta see how Durrani can do throughout the rest of the year, but it's gonna be a long year. Not as long as last year, but this is a unpredictable series, especially with it being equal lanes now. So you gotta see how the rest of this season goes with all the new tracks that we have. But I'm excited for the Smooth Fest Sprint Series next week at New Smyrna, but I am really excited to get to Daytona with everything for Speed Race. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm just ready to kick off everything in 2026.
Yeah, well, we officially kicked off the points racing at Homestead. So that'll be 2 weeks from now, the Wawa 400 in the Wawa Cup Series. That'll be a lot of fun, and of course Daytona right after that. So there's so much that we do here, and we have a lot of fun with it, and it's going to be a great next few weeks here on AG of the channel. Ryan Durrani gets the job done. Ladovic Schredt, Isaac Nichols, Michael Lewis, Zachary Fitzwater, Alexander Rowe, Kirsten Bell, Caleb Rose, Roldorn, and Daniel Paulus Jr. all receiving championship points from the feature, and of course we'll add on the points from the heat races as well. As you see the point standings after 2 races here in the BodyArmor Pro Series for 2026. Huge thanks to all of you for watching. Hey, we got a great race coming up. 2.4 hours of Daytona in the Flowmaster GT Championship over on the North American Sim Racing Network and right here on AG the channel. You can check that out as a collaboration. We're excited for that one. It was a great race that I recorded with Trey Wright night before I recorded this one, and you're definitely going to want to watch it as always. And what a fun race that Trey puts on every year. It's my 4th year in a row calling that race with him, so great tradition that we have there with those guys over at NASRN. Huge thanks to Nathan Stapleton for joining me here tonight from the new Smyrna Speedway, and we will see you guys next Friday night for the Mellow Yellow Smooth Fest, the 4th edition of it here at the new Smyrna Speedway, and you best believe it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun as we introduce the 2026 full-time Wawa Cup Series field. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, congratulations to Ryan Durrani. Here are the point standings for the BodyArmor Pro Series after 2 races, and I will see you guys later.